The distress signal, Captain. Sarah Chen floated in the observation deck of Deep Space Station Omega-7, watching the distant stars through the reinforced viewport. The station hung in the void between Earth and Alpha Centauri, humanity's furthest outpost dedicated to monitoring deep space communications. For 3 years, Sarah had commanded this lonely sentinel, hoping to catch humanity's first genuine contact with alien intelligence. The coffee dispenser hummed softly in the background as Dr. Marcus Webb adjusted the massive communication array for the 1,000th time that week. Webb was a patient man who had spent the last decade perfecting translation algorithms that might one day decode an alien language. His colleagues back on Earth often joked that he was chasing ghosts, but Webb believed that somewhere in the vast cosmos, other voices were calling out. "Captain, I'm detecting something unusual on frequency 847.3. Webb called from his station, his voice carrying an excitement that Sarah hadn't heard in months. "This isn't background radiation or stellar interference, there's a pattern here. Definitely artificial." Sarah pushed off from the viewport and glided over to Webb's workstation. The display showed wave patterns that pulsed with deliberate rhythm, unlike anything in their databases. The signal was weak, distorted by its journey across countless light years, but unmistakably created by intelligent beings. "How long has this been transmitting?" Sarah asked, her heart rate increasing as she realized they might be witnessing history. "The signal started approximately 6 hours ago, but it's been getting stronger. I think they're boosting the transmission power, probably because they're desperate to reach anyone who might help." Webb's fingers danced across his controls, applying filters and enhancement algorithms to clean up the message. The next few hours passed in intense focus as the team worked to decode the alien transmission. Webb's translation program struggled with the completely foreign language structure, but gradually patterns emerged. The message contained mathematical sequences, star charts, and what appeared to be emotional appeals. Lieutenant Commander Riley Park, the station's tactical officer, joined them as the first clear words began to emerge from the static. "Captain, if this is what I think it is, we need to contact Earth Command immediately." The translated message began to play through the speakers, and the voice that emerged was desperate, frightened, and achingly alien. "This is Zarath of the Kethani people, transmitting on all frequencies to any species capable of receiving this message. Our worlds are under attack by the Dominion Empire. They have already destroyed 7 of our colonies and enslaved millions of our people. We know of Earth, the world that birthed the legendary survivors they call Deathworlders. If any humans receive this transmission, please, we beg for your aid. We offer everything we possess in exchange for help. Our children are dying, our cities burn, and we have nowhere else to turn." Silence filled the station as the implications sank in. This wasn't just first contact. It was a cry for help from an entire civilization facing extinction. Sarah felt the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders like a heavy cloak. "Webb, can we establish two-way communication?" she asked, her command training taking over despite the magnitude of the situation. "I believe so, Captain. The signal is strong enough now, and I've isolated their transmission frequency. We can piggyback on their carrier wave to send a response." Sarah took a deep breath, knowing that her next words would mark humanity's entry onto the galactic stage. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Terran Deep Space Station Omega-7. We have received your distress call, Zarath of the Kethani. Humanity hears your plea and will not abandon you in your time of need. We are preparing to send help. Please transmit your coordinates and tactical information about your enemies." The response came quickly, filled with disbelief and desperate hope. "Humans? You actually exist? The traitors spoke of your people as myths, beings from a world so harsh that it created warriors beyond imagination. Captain Chen, our coordinates are attached to this transmission. The Dominion Empire commands over 200 warships, each larger than anything we possess. They are led by High Commander Vextar, who has conquered dozens of species across this sector. We have only civilian ships and a handful of defensive platforms remaining." As the data streamed in, Park analyzed the tactical situation with growing concern. "Captain, this Dominion Empire isn't just attacking random targets. They're systematically destroying every Cathani world, taking prisoners for slave labor and stripping planets of resources. This is genocide on an interstellar scale. Sarah studied the star charts showing the Cathani system location near Altair, roughly 17 light-years from Earth. It was at the very limit of human faster-than-light capability, but reachable, with their newest ships. The tactical data painted a grim picture of overwhelming odds, but Sarah had learned long ago that impossible situations often brought out the best in humanity. Webb, send this entire communication log to Earth Command on priority alpha channels. Include everything we've learned about the Cathani and this Dominion Empire. Riley, start analyzing their weapons and ship configurations. I want to know everything about what we're potentially facing. As the data burst transmitted toward Earth at faster-than-light speeds, Sarah returned to the viewport. Somewhere out there, among those countless stars, an entire species was counting on humanity to save them from extinction. The irony wasn't lost on her that beings from across the galaxy saw humans as legendary warriors, when most people on Earth still thought of themselves as a young species taking their first steps into the cosmos. The next several hours brought a flurry of additional communications with the Cathani. Zarath, who identified herself as a former diplomat-turned-refugee leader, provided detailed information about Dominion tactics and technology. The picture that emerged was of a militaristic empire that conquered through fear and overwhelming force, treating other species as resources to be harvested rather than beings with rights. Captain Chen, Zarath's translated voice carried exhaustion and fading hope. I must tell you truthfully that no species has ever successfully resisted the Dominion. They have weapons that can crack planets and ships that move like living things. Many civilizations have tried to fight them. All have fallen. If humanity chooses to help us, you may be flying to your own destruction. Sarah smiled grimly as she prepared her response. Zarath, there's something you should understand about humans. We come from a world that's been trying to kill us since we first drew breath. Every day on Earth, we face storms that could level mountains, predators that hunt in packs, diseases that spread like wildfire, and natural disasters that reshape continents. We learned long ago that the only way to survive is to never give up, never surrender, and never abandon those who need help. The Dominion may be powerful, but they've never faced Deathworlders defending someone they care about. Earth's response. The emergency session at Earth Defense Command headquarters buzzed with tension as Admiral James Harrison reviewed the alien transmission for the third time. The Situation Room, buried deep beneath the lunar surface, housed the most senior military leaders in human space. Never before had they faced a decision of such magnitude. Gentlemen and ladies, Admiral Harrison began, his weathered face reflecting decades of military service. We stand at a crossroads. For the first time in human history, we have confirmed contact with alien intelligence. Unfortunately, that contact comes in the form of a species facing extinction, requesting our military intervention in an interstellar war. General Patricia Morrison, head of the Space Marine Corps, leaned forward in her chair. Admiral, our intelligence analysis of the Dominion Empire's capabilities is sobering. They possess technology centuries ahead of ours, numerical superiority of at least 50-1, and combat experience against dozens of other species. This could be a trap, or worse, a suicide mission for any fleet we send. Admiral Harrison nodded gravely. The risks are enormous, Patricia, but consider the alternative. If we refuse to help, we send a message to the galaxy that humanity cannot be trusted, that we abandon our principles when facing difficult odds. More importantly, we condemn an entire civilization to slavery and death. Dr. Elizabeth Foster, the director of Xenological Studies, activated her holographic display showing the intercepted Cathani communications. The cultural analysis of these beings suggests a peaceful, highly advanced society focused on exploration and scientific advancement. They've never engaged in aggressive warfare, which explains their inability to resist the Dominion. From their perspective, we're literally their last hope. Commander Elena Vasquez, recently promoted to captain of the EDS Resilience, studied the tactical projections with professional interest. At 34, she was young for such a command, but her innovative strategies during the Mars Rebellion had earned her rapid advancement. Admiral, I've run preliminary mission profiles based on the available data. The journey to the Altair system will take our ships to maximum range, leaving little margin for extended operations or retreat. What do you propose, Commander? Harrison asked, recognizing the tactical brilliance that had made Vasquez legendary among her peers. We take our most advanced ships and best crews, but we don't go there to fight a conventional space battle. The Dominion expects conquered species to meet them head-on, matching firepower against firepower. Humans don't fight that way. We adapt, we improvise, and we turn our disadvantages into strengths. General Morrison smiled approvingly. The Dominion has conquered dozens of species using the same tactics over and over. They've never faced an opponent that refuses to follow the established rules of engagement. Admiral Harrison stood and walked to the massive holographic display showing human space. Earth's small fleet of 47 warships represented the pinnacle of human engineering, designed for flexibility and crew survivability rather than overwhelming firepower. Each ship carried advanced electronic warfare systems, adaptive AI, and most importantly, crews trained to think independently under pressure. The question before us isn't whether we can win, Harrison continued, his voice carrying the authority of command. The question is whether we're willing to risk everything to do what's right. The Cathani didn't ask us to conquer the Dominion, Empire. They asked us to help them survive. That's something humanity has always excelled at. Captain Rebecca Torres, commanding officer of the EDS Defiance, raised her hand. Admiral, what about Earth's defense? If we send our entire deep space fleet to Altair, we leave the home system vulnerable to retaliation. A valid concern, Rebecca, but intelligence suggests the Dominion is currently focused on the Cathani system. If we can defeat them there, decisively, it may discourage further expansion in our direction. If we do nothing, we're simply delaying the inevitable until they finish with the Cathani and turn their attention to us. The debate continued for hours as military leaders, scientists, and political advisors weighed the options. Outside the conference room, technicians worked frantically to prepare humanity's most advanced vessels for a mission beyond anything they were originally designed to handle. Commander Vasquez found herself appointed as fleet commander, a responsibility that both thrilled and terrified her. The mission would require split-second decisions, creative problem-solving, and the kind of stubborn determination that had carried humanity from caves to the stars. Elena, Admiral Harrison said privately after the main session ended, I'm giving you complete tactical autonomy once you reach the Altair system. Earth Command is too far away to provide real-time support. You'll need to rely on your instincts and the skills of your crews. Understood, Admiral. What about rules of engagement? Harrison's expression grew steel-hard. The Dominion is committing genocide against a peaceful species. They've made themselves humanity's enemy through their actions. Engage them with whatever force necessary to complete the mission and bring our people home. The fleet preparation took 18 hours of non-stop work. Engineers installed additional armor plating. Weapon specialists calibrated targeting systems for unknown alien technologies, and medical teams prepared for casualties they couldn't predict. Most importantly, each ship received updated AI packages, designed to adapt to completely unfamiliar combat scenarios. Commander Vasquez walked through the corridors of her flagship, the EDS Resilience, observing the controlled chaos of departure preparations. Her crew, handpicked from Earth's finest, worked with quiet efficiency despite knowing they might be heading to their deaths. The ship's AI, designated Area, provided constant updates on system status and mission parameters. Commander, Area's synthesized voice carried subtle emotional undertones that made it seem almost human. Long-range sensors indicate optimal departure window in 37 minutes. All fleet vessels report ready status. Thank you, Area. Open a channel to the entire fleet. Vasquez's image appeared on screens throughout the 47 ships preparing to depart Luna Base. Nearly 15,000 personnel, representing the best of human space forces, looked to her for leadership and inspiration. Crew members of the Terra Defense Fleet, she began, her voice steady despite the magnitude of the moment. Today we embark on humanity's first interstellar mission of mercy. Somewhere in the darkness between stars, an entire civilization is counting on us to stand between them and extinction. The enemy we face has never been defeated, commands superior numbers, and possesses technology beyond our current understanding. She paused, looking directly into the camera. But they've never faced humans before. They've never encountered a species that learned to survive by adapting to any challenge, that treats impossible odds as just another problem to solve. We carry with us not just the hopes of the Cathani people, but the honor and determination of everyone who calls Earth home. The fleet departed Luna Base in a formation that had never been attempted before, 47 ships moving in perfect coordination toward a destination none of them had ever seen. As they activated their FTL drives and disappeared into hyperspace, Earth's leaders could only wait and hope that humanity's first venture into galactic politics would not be their last. Behind them, Earth continued its rotation, unaware that the fate of multiple species now rested in the hands of crews who had volunteered to risk everything for strangers they had never met. In the depths of space, the journey to Altair began, carrying with it the dreams and fears of two civilizations separated by impossible distances, but united by a simple belief that some things were worth fighting for.